So cool. So yeah, so I quickly here I wanted to kind of turn the clock back because I had some White Bat related questions before jumping
Okay.
into the new album because for me White Bat was one of the best albums that came out in 2019. It really seemed like you guys went to another level with that album. The
Thank
album
you.
comes out and then all of a sudden pandemic hits.
As it were, the cards we were dealt.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we a rise in our morale as it were out on the road, and just those things kind of happen organically, I guess. You feel when you never know what's going to happen, and we just kind of, as we were playing shows, it seemed like they were getting better. More people were knowing, so it was. It seemed to be like we were on some sort of path, and we went home, and we sat there for 2 years and basically just wrote a record, and here we are. It's very weird, and I think maybe that has something to do with what I'm already seeing. The singles, people seem to really like it, so hope it's time there with what happened to the world.
Yeah. At what point did you guys start writing the songs for Endless Hallway? Because of course you come out with White Bat. You just mentioned you guys get sent home. Do you guys start writing right as you get home, or do you wait to see what's going on? Because you got this really good album, and you're thinking, all right, well, this will only be a second. We'll be out touring this in no time. Or do
Yeah,
you say, hey, you know what? Let's start writing just in case.
it didn't. We were a little hurt, just naturally, because we had plans of other things going on. We were gearing up for us, so we planned to do a few things, but we didn't want to do anything that had this like stamp on it. We didn't want to do anything with masks on and stuff like that. It was just some bands did it really well. Some bands did it, and kind of cringed. There was just like there was something to be said about doing something for that moment, and we had we had tried something out, and we were going to play It Hates You in its entirety, and then went and tried to do a live stream. We were working through all the kinks and whatnot, and then there was another surge, and lockdowns were suggested again, and they were saying, we suggest you don't meet for Thanksgiving, and it was right around the time. And so we were like, yeah, is it really a good idea to get everybody in a room, a bunch of people filming and some guest players? So we decided not to. It was like, let's just write a new record and go into that. So it happened shortly there, a year. A lot of these, some of these songs and ideas blossomed from some of the riffs are song ideas that we've had that have just been really fits this record or that. But yeah, it just kind of blossomed out of our. Yeah, it wasn't immediate, but it was fairly close to so without just working our normal jobs or whatever, there wasn't a lot that we were doing, and still I mean we're the times right now, every band's on the road and whatnot, so we're still kind of playing catch up to get our tour schedule filled out, but hopefully the next little bit after this record drops.
Yeah, that's interesting because we've talked about that, or I've talked about that with other bands, how tours that they had planned, had to get put on pause, and then now you've got tours backing into one another. You've got festival dates backing into one another. So it's really crazy trying to get all the stuff worked out. There's been a few bands that have canceled tours, and I I think that it may actually have more to do with just scheduling. There's just so much
Yeah,
shit into one another. It's just
yeah.
impossible
There's a
to do everything.
going on, and I think every band's looking to get back out because it has been so long. So the way things are going, and just like every band's out, a lot of bands will package their tours because their fans will just hop on, or some bands even buy on. But right now the market's so oversaturated, shows and fests going on, and yeah, it's a little difficult to find your footing and to get right back in the. We're lucky that we have this record coming out now, and we can kind of plan for 2023 hard when things reopen again in February, March. We hope, we're hoping we get some good looks coming up on this.
Okay. Now, going into whatever you guys do next year, do you feel that you still have to put a specific amount of attention on White Bat because it maybe didn't get the attention that you guys felt that it did because you didn't get to complete that cycle?
I don't know if it's for that reason, but I just think those songs kick ass, so we really they've got a good vibe to them, and they fit well in the set, but we do throwing things in from every album. We try to play fast and loose. So it's depending on what the show calls for. If we're headlining, if we've got a 30-minute gig where we're like 25 minutes, you never know. But we try to hit all the marks. Fans want to hear, so try to throw it all in there.
Okay, so with Endless Hallway, album number 7, was there anything that you felt as a singer, as an artist, that you wanted to try that maybe you hadn't done previously? Was there a statement that you wanted to make with this album?
Not necessarily a statement. I think it came out a lot of angst from not being on the road and from the state of the world and whatnot. There are influences on our sleeve, and I think our format for writing kind of leaves blank canvas as far as like what I can do lyrically and what I can do on a vocal scale. I think I have my work cut out for me when I hear the tunes in their final. After all said and done, we have a demoing process, and we have a format that we do when we record every time, and it's just over the years. But this one was maybe just a little more agribilness, and we were all just kind of just a little hurt from like the music had gone away. So I mean, it really felt bittersweet when it came time to get it done and button things up. It was like, oh, okay, well, just it was kind of like a conduit, some sort of creativity. I felt like I was channeling some of this energy. So I don't think in the moment I ever really have expectations for where things are going to go. I like to leave it clear so I can allow what the music feels like it's calling for to go. That's usually my mode when I'm recording. And other guys, like we all know exactly what we want to hear when we go in, and go in with a ton of tunes and whittle down. We go in with exactly what we want to see on the record. So to getting things finalized, it's all a matter of just devoting the time to getting for guitars and the right takes, and spending as much time as we have to get the down. And then the last thing we do is vocals. So normally I'm tweaking and revisiting ideas, rehashing ideas in that final hour, like whatever creatively can shine through to come through.
Is that because you hear what your bandmates have done and you think, shit, I got to raise my level to meet what they've done? Or just because
I think we always lean on each other creatively, and it's not this too much different, but I think when you get to a point where you practice room and rehearsal space just to get the demoing done. And so regardless of what that demo you in the studio is always going to just like add a layer that you never would expect, and excitement to hearing that final product that brings the opens, I think, especially for me, because I've always been, giving life this structure that's built. So, yeah, I mean, we always apologize for that. Yeah, we amount of creativity that comes from what we hear the others do. So it's like when you have that last guitar chord or that last cymbal smash or whatever, and you hear those, it's just inspiring. So we draw from we try to match that, and we keep each other on our toes, and I think that wasn't that much different for Endless Hallway, but the subject matter, the time, what we were going through personally, and in the band itself, I think all one big movement for what happened. Yeah, I think we push each other creatively always, and that's why we still make music together, because we're still inspired by each other. Cool.
Well, actually, I was going to say, you guys put your first album out in 2004. So in 2024, it's going to be 20 years.
Yeah, crazy.
Do you feel that you yourself has evolved as an artist?
Sure. I think I'm always learning. I think we all kind of push ourselves to be better people at times, and being with, I have to, that does keep me on my toes as a vocalist, and as well. I don't know. I think it's good to stay sharp. I definitely feel like than I was when we started, and that may or may not be true, but I feel like I've learned a lot over the years. Touring's not an easy gig, glamorous. It's sometimes can be miserable, even though most of the time, and most of the time, whether we're playing for 20 kids at a bar, or well, it's like you bring that energy that you want to feel, and I don't know, he's not moving until the crowd moves him, and I think there's a bit of that there, but there's also a give and take. And most of that I feel like I've learned within the last, how to really be appreciative of the fans that we have, and how to like give can. So I think I think if you're not growing, it's probably a good thing to think that way and feel that way.
Okay. Do you feel that your influences have changed over the years?
Sure. Yeah, constantly. I mean, I don't know exactly what I'm. If there's heads that we've always been influenced by, we grew up on Nirvana and Deftones. I mean, those are big pivotal bands for us. Thing we like every week, and it could weigh on us. It could show her, but I think we know who we are. We know what we sound like, and when it comes down, I guess capitalize on the fact that we know our sound, and what to listen to or what to listen for when writing a He Is Legend record. So respect, I think, influences do change constantly. Hear some of these like Gojira sweeps on this new record that are like, they like, it's they're one of the coolest bands we've seen in a long time. So like hearing able to have it influence on our sleeve is like, it's just, I think we're in a position now to where when we do hear something that we really like bands like that when they're just a force to be reckoned with, utilizing their influence, any of these bands that we've always Deftones and bands that we just admire, but I think at the end of the day, we have our own like kind of signature sound, so
right.
It's a bit different from other when we're listening back at the end of the day in the rehearsal space, writing tunes, or that we're being true to ourself and our sound in all capacities, I guess.
Okay. And now let me flip that around on you. Do you feel that you guys have influenced other bands, or had bands come up to you guys and say, "Hey, if it wasn't for He Is Legend, we wouldn't be here"?
Definitely have heard that. I don't know if I could ever call it out. I'm a bad judge of like, because it's been in my veins now for nearly 20 years. But I think maybe we had a hand in starting something back in the day. I don't know if you could really ever say that until it's all said and done, because I mean you can't see the grand scope of things. I do believe that we were kind of pivotal in some rationale on this. We're kind of going hard and on tours constantly. And yeah, we do, we'll get bands that'll come up to us and just be like, you guys are always very humbling, because it's never expected. But yeah, I like to think there was some sort of impact on the scene when we were in our heyday, and that still continues.
Okay, cool. It's been documented that you've had issues with your health. One thing is recording and being able to hold off recording due to different
Yeah.
circumstances, but what's it like for you to tour, having to deal with different health issues?
I've been a diabetic for most of our touring career, so I mean that's always been interesting, this understanding of my body and my diet and what I have to do to stay. This last year, when we did go on tour after I had been some complications of that, it was a learning experience. I had to change a lot. We as a band had to change some of our earlier habits, but it just gave me an opportunity to grow and learn. And yeah, I think went 4 shows with being pretty ill back in March and April, and I thought at the beginning most of it, and I didn't really know how I was going to go on and if I was going to be able to finish the tour. But the first week, I think I got my stride and kind of figured it out. I think a lot of it has to do with sleep and all these things that come hand in hand with tour. So you just as you age, you gotta get you gotta be mindful of how tough tour is on you. Very little sleep. There is a lot of travel. There's a lot of late nights. There's all these things are kind of ubiquitous with touring, and it can get real easy to fall in new traps, and it's just important to maintain some sort of willpower and some sort of clarity, sane, and to stay in some sort of it's easy after 2 months to just like touring. So I mean, you got to have some sort of self-control and really push your. I think that was kind of the mind frame that I went into, and also with the pandemic, everybody that was able to get back on the road was really counting their lucky stars, and like again, because we never knew what it was like to not have live music, you know. So as a group, or you know, a worldwide entity of rock and metal, what it was like to like be having these weird withdrawals from live music and lines that we took for granted before. So not taking it for granted now is, I think, very important. And you know, counting your blessings for things like that, being able to play, being able to, you know, all these things that we might not have ever really taken a beat to think they're on the forefront and they're in our minds. So yeah, that's probably the guess, is just to continue devoting some part of you to like taking care of yourself. You know, I think that was one of the things we didn't really ever. It was something that I kind of had to force myself into doing, and just making sure that I had to do better at that. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I've 2 or 3 years. It's just like how important taking care of your reduced stress as much as possible, you know.
Gotcha. Okay. And you mentioned before that you guys are going to be going out in 2023. What's that look like for you guys currently? Because with inflation, gas prices, all of that stuff, for economic reasons, how difficult is it for you guys to plan a tour so that you guys don't end up, you know, losing money just by going out on tour?
You know, I don't know if anybody questioned, because there is like I mean, you do lose money on tour. You know, you have to rent your transportation. There's a shortage in van, and every band is on the road. Gas prices are crazy. I mean, all the things that go along with it. Be sleeping in parking lots. You know, you have to account for accommodations and this at the end of the day. But you know, especially we're into our 40s now, and it's not as easy as it used to be, where we could just like, you know, 9 hours a day and like through the night and no sleep and just play for a month and go home. I think there's a level of it that you also kind of have to put in your of learning the ways again, and things have just changed so much. So we're all kind of back in this, what actually happens on the road, and how best to do it, and how to stay away from like I don't have an answer for that really. I just know that we do well on the merch table, which is where a band really makes their dough, and can pull out all the stops and throw a good show and make it to where we're going. You know, you lose money that way. And there's all these things that happen in the States that are, you know, through hurricane, snow, all this stuff that just you can't account for. So and be a little better at planning is always good, but you never know. Never know what kind of this amount of spontaneity that you can kind of you know, Murphy's Law, and just assume and play it safe and try to get early, but you know, you can never really account for everything, and there's always you always hit traffic, or there's a wreck and you're late to a show. I mean, there's always something. Yeah, you just gotta plan, gotta be careful, gotta do all the things. You know, I mean, treat it like we're lucky enough to be able to call it both.
Okay. And I see that you're wearing a 9 Inch Nails shirt, so I'm obligated to ask you a 9 Inch Nails question. If you see them live, 3 songs that you have to see them play.
Oh man, I say the like the classics that I grew up on that I love so much. But I love the Fragile EP a lot, and I still pull that out a lot. So that people wouldn't care too much about. But I mean, I would hear Head Like a Hole. I would want to hear Closer. I would want to hear the Fragile. Some stuff off of With Teeth too. I mean, that was one of the albums people didn't like that much, but I really loved it. I'm just a fan. And yeah, I mean, there's tons, but such a good band.
Yeah,
we've only had the pleasure of playing with them at one festival. What was it? Aftershock Festival in Sacramento. But I think it was them and Run the Jewels. It's a great night, and being able to see them in a perfect circle and just legendary. Yeah, I'd be happy to see Nails play anything for sure.
I'm not in that With Teeth crowd that people that don't like it. I love that album. That album.
I thought it was great, and that's a Melvins song called With Teeth. I'm pretty sure that's a throw out to the Melvins. Me and Adam really loved the Melvins growing up, and I'm pretty sure that's some sort of a call out to them.
Yeah. I always like to talk about the emotional connection that you have with albums or with music or whatnot. And that album came out right as I moved, was a big, important time in my life. So it was an album that I played a lot. So because of that, I had that type of emotional connection to it. So that's why I really love that album.
Yeah, it's a great album. I remember a lot about when that came out, I'm pretty sure. And that's another good thing about touring too. We get so much time to dive into new music, so it's a great position to be in.
Yeah, you mentioned the merch before, but the album drops this Friday on the 11th. If people can pre-order the album, or if you want them to buy the album, from a specific spot to ensure that you make the most amount of money off of the album, where would that be?
You can pre-order at our Merch Now store. I'm pretty sure that would be as getting it from us. I mean, obviously, if you come to a show and support us at the merch table, that's probably the best way to do it. But do anytime soon, then just telling your friends about it and getting it wherever you can find it. I think stores for sure and all that. But yeah, I think just getting it and spreading the word is the more people, the better.
Okay, cool. And where should people go to keep up with the band?
Our socials are He Is Legend NC, as in North Carolina. Your Facebook, I'm pretty sure we have a Facebook group. We Are Legend, that people, and there's a congregation there of people that enjoy the band. And so, we have a cult following of people that just are diehard for us, and we couldn't be more thankful. So come on by,
Thank you for watching the Signals from Mars live stream. You can watch the show live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, or check out replays on YouTube. Go to signalsfrommars.com for more information. This concludes our show.